So it really is this new moon in Capricorn that's happening right now as I record this. It's perfecting. And this new moon is, it's like the defining energy of the next few weeks is the Capricornian. It is all of that Capricorn archetype. And that's just what's been on my mind is like, what is Capricorn? Because it's so powerfully relevant as Mars is there, I think until 13 February there now. The lunar nodes are squaring Capricorn. So it gives this Capricorn's sort of spiritual depth and kind of it removes the sheen of maybe the everyday. That's what happens when you have the nodes in an axis. All of the signs of that axis kind of get removed from the maybe most common sort of surface way that we think about them when we go deep with the lunar nodes. And so you had this new moon exactly square the lunar nodes are at the south bending. And to me, it just comes to mind, what's the depth of Capricorn? What does it mean at some basic kind of sinological level or archetypical level? Because we're all navigating through that. So this Capricorn new moon, I'm here recording in nature during this Capricorn new moon, just a little bit after. And remember, it's not just Mars and Capricorn that's powering this Capricornian moment that extends beyond the new moon. We still have two more ingresses back into Capricorn. One will be Mercury re-entering Capricorn. That happens, I'll get those dates here in a second. And then the other one is Venus coming into Capricorn quite soon. And so Capricorn continues to be the main feature of this moment of astrology as things then build to the Aquarian. And that's why I'm focused on this notion of Capricorn. What is it? What do we do with it? How does it function in our lives? And so what is it? You know, Capricorn is one of the most interesting signs given that it by something called whole sign rulership. You know, whole sign rulers are the rulers that comprise all 30 degrees. And so you have an exaltation ruler, you have a domicile ruler, you have two triplicity rulers over Capricorn, and there's only two signs of the zodiac that have four rulers, Cancer and Capricorn, which is of course the angular axis in the Thema Mundi. It's these cardinal signs which are so complex. It's the cardinal energy which has a depth of power in our lives. You know, another way to look at this functionally in your natal chart is there's four planets that you may examine in your chart to understand how this Capricorn activation is unfolding. And those are Venus, Mars, the Moon, and Saturn as the domicile lord. And so it's not just the Martial and the Saturn, which is often what we think about initially when we think about Capricorn, working hard, deep rule structures, great ranks and power and work and force, and channeling that force into activity. This also is the Venusian, the pleasure of work. What work do you find joy in? These conversations I've seen out there. You know, it's your body and the nature of work as a necessary function for survival in reality. I mean, we've got to work to eat, you know, and this extends across all types of economic structures. I mean, even if we were just living in a natural environment, we're gonna have to be out there picking fruits and plowing the fields. And, you know, even if you're wealthy, there's work to eat. I mean, you literally have to get up and go to the table. I guess you could have servants feeding you, but then that's gonna be uncomfortable, you know, and so the body is part of our daily labors. The nature of getting our body involved and efforting so that we can enjoy reality through effort around the physical form. This is all Capricornian. And these are the complexities that you'll find in your own chart. You know, look to Mars, certainly. Look to Saturn, certainly in the houses where those planets are in your chart to understand how all of this seeded and fresh and new Capricorn energy is functioning. But look to the Moon and Venus as well as triplicity lords. So just some other examples of this that have come across my timeline. Just talking to a friend, Aswin, a Vedic astrologer from India, and he was telling me today about how in his family lineage, there are like recipes of techniques that are handed down from generation to generation. And I was like, wow, this is like in my family, you've got like the peach pie or the pecan pie or the collard greens. You know, my grandmother had these recipe books with handwritten recipes from her grandmother and so on and so forth all the way back. They're using astrology like this in certain schools. And it made me realize, you know, how much astrology is like an art, and it's like the art of cooking, right? Where you make something through a recipe or a mix that can be custom to your powers as a chef. And so there's freedom with our astrology, but two, there's a lineage and an ancient feature of that astrology where, you know, there's a dog here, you can see that dog, but it's old things, it's older containers, right? We might be looking back with this Capricorn activation in containers of our history. And it doesn't have to just be astrology, it can be anything in your life. Like, where did you come from? We're back to the moon now with Capricorn. You see, what's the container from which you have emerged? The structures of that lunar container, mom, grandmom, great-grandmom, all the way back. You know, these are the kind of things we can consider or think about, I think, with Capricorn in a major way. You know, and the other just big thing that's on my mind right now in this moment of astrology is the Aquarius ingress of Pluto coming up here really, really soon. I'm recording this on 11 Jan. It's 10 days. And it's not just Pluto and Aquarius. It's a few other planets are about to emerge there with Pluto. So there's a whole Aquarius thing. But what's interesting for this video might be like how Capricorn flows into Aquarius. Because when we go to those roots of those deep structures of our history, and then we're efforting in reality to kind of make comfort in our lives, right, through long-term planning and martial action. Where are we comfortable, right? And how can we like plan in the long term to make ourselves comfortable? What will flow after that, once we get those kind of roots settled, look around me, these trees and roots, then you can get into the air, right? The tree is first in the base, this is the Capricorn, and then it flows into these deeper air structures. These arboreal arrangements, which are beautiful in their own right, you know, Fibonacci arrangements with the leaves and the trees and all of that. This is like the earth to air that is implied here. And so this moment of time in astrology, I think, is wonderful to like get your roots and your grounding with your effort, so that come February, March, as this Aquarian stuff arrives, you're, you know, ready to kind of rely on this initiated deep structure of Capricorn season and with these Capricorn stellium.